Here's what I need. A laptop, a digital watch, a cell phone, the pneumatic actuator from your bazooka over there, a map of town, a big spring, and a tuna fish sandwich.
And all I wanted, Tony, was a good Iron Man movie, but... Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is directed by Shane Black, who of course is behind the writing of Lethal Weapons 1 and 2, The Long Kiss Goodnight, and Monster Squad. He's also directed movies such as Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and The Nice Guys, which is a criminally underseen movie. If you haven't seen it already, please go check that one out. The film stars Robert Downey Jr. returning to the role of Tony Stark, Gwyneth Paltrow, Don Cheadle, Guy Pearce, Rebecca Hall, but Jon Favreau returns as Happy Hogan, who he also directed the first 2 Iron Man movies, so it's kind of cool that he showed up in the 3rd one and he's not directing. And finally starring Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin. Kinda. Iron Man 3 takes place several months after the events of the first Avengers movie. Wow. Seems like such a long time ago. Now in the Avengers, Tony Stark was the only one of the team to travel through the wormhole to see the gigantic army of aliens coming towards Earth. This was a lot for Tony to take in seeing. So much that because of this, it occasionally causes him to have panic or anxiety attacks that apparently he can turn on and off whenever he feels like it, or whenever the script needs him to have it. So to combat his anxiety, Tony spends most of his free time building experimental Iron Man suits that he stores away. But because of all of this extra work, his attention towards his girlfriend and CEO of Stark Industries, Pepper Potts, kind of goes out the window. And Tony fails to realize the advancements of Aldrich Killian, who is the CEO of a company called AIM. And AIM has developed enhancements for the human body to allow them to heal from any injury, whether it's, a pinch on the arm or if it's any severed limb. Those limbs can grow right back. And this is called Extremis for all those comic book nerds out there. And AIM is also funding a world-renowned terrorist who is going by the name of the Mandarin, played by Ben Kingsley. Kinda. And after several bombings around the world, Tony Stark vows to take down the Mandarin once and for all, with apparently no help from any of his new Avenger buddies. And how does he do this? By giving away his home address on national television. And after the Mandarin forces come and destroy his home, he goes off on an adventure full of conspiracy theories and hidden identities. Okay, where do I start?
It's complicated.
First off, I am going to let everyone know that this is going to be a very spoiler-heavy review. It's really hard for me to talk about this movie without talking about the big twists that happen in the movie, because there are a lot. You'll find more twists in this movie than any movie by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. I had to throw that in there. I love saying his name like that. Shamalama Ding Dong, Shamalama Ding Dong, Shamalama Ding Dong. Okay. Back to Iron Man. Okay, so I'll be up front. I have a lot of problems with this movie. But one of the most controversial things in this movie is not the thing that I have the biggest problem with. I will start off by saying that Robert Downey Jr. is always great as Iron Man. He is that character. And this movie is a nice return to that mature Tony Stark that we saw at the end of the very first Iron Man and in the Avengers movie. In Iron Man 2, it almost felt like Robert Downey Jr. reverted back to that young, cocky-ish Tony Stark that we saw in the prelude of Iron Man. He is still very fun in this movie and is able to dish out a lot of good, quick quips, but he does so in a very mature way. The main problem I remember Tony having in the comics was his alcoholism and not PTSD. But I do like that they gave him PTSD in this movie. It makes sense in the follow-up from the Avengers. Plus, this was after Disney acquired Marvel, and there is no way Disney is putting an alcoholic on the screen.
It's complicated.
So yeah, RDJ is great. Not of my issues. This was the start of Phase 2 for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and personally, I think they came out of the gate tripping over their own feet. This movie does not feel like it's part of the universe that the Avengers set up, which I think was Marvel Studios' idea going forward with these phases. Each of the main characters is going to get their own solo mission that's just going to be them, then they'll all meet up occasionally in an Avengers movie at the end of our phases. But the problem with that mentality is, if you set up this universe where there are so many superheroes in it, and you have such a global or national issue like the president is being kidnapped, or there is a world-renowned terrorist shooting people on television, I mean, why doesn't Captain America show up to save the president, or why doesn't S.H.I.E.L.D. get involved for that matter? And I think with Iron Man 3 and Thor the Dark World, they were set on that thinking. But obviously that all changed when Captain America the Winter Soldier came out and they incorporated all these different characters and they set it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think director Shane Black was really focused on making his own movie as opposed to making his movie fit into this bigger cinematic universe, which is very commendable. I mean, that's what directors should do. They should go out looking to make their own movie. But that can be a problem with all the cinematic universes that we're seeing nowadays. If a director is trying to make their own interpretation and it doesn't fully flow into the vision and the arc of the universe, it can be a mess. Which is why I think this is one of the forgotten Marvel movies. No one mentions it anymore. I feel like Shane Black's directorial concept for this movie was conspiracy. We get so many plot twists in this movie that it gets to the point where this script seems confusing, it seems muddy, and it stops making sense. Twists like the scarred Extremis operative outside the saloon in Tennessee, twists like Killian being behind the funding of the Mandarin, twists like Tony Stark not being in the Iron Man suit when he was saving all of the crew from Air Force One, and probably the biggest twist in the movie, and the thing that many people had a problem with, was Ben Kingsley, the Mandarin, is not really the Mandarin. Okay, so their idea was to cast Academy Award-winning actor Ben Kingsley in the role of the Mandarin that is easily probably the most famous Iron Man villain out there, only to reveal halfway in the movie that, oh no, Ben Kingsley is not the Mandarin. He is in fact an actor portraying someone who apparently is the Mandarin. He's just a drunk stage actor.
Well, I panicked, but then I handled it.
When I first saw this in theaters, I was thinking, you know what? That's pretty ballsy. I respect that choice. But you could sense in the crowd when that reveal happened just who was pissed off and who was accepting it. There's no middle ground with this decision. It was either you're okay with it or no, absolutely not. This is completely offensive to the universe of Iron Man and to the comics. We got a lot of those character twists in like a year's span from 2012 to 2013. Marion Cotillard in The Dark Knight Rises, people were saying, no, she's not Talia al Ghul. Guess what? Talia al Ghul. Then we have Ben Kingsley's Mandarin in Iron Man 3. And then we got that stupid reveal with Benedict Cumberbatch in Star Trek Into Darkness. Director J.J. Abrams was asked many times, is he playing Khan? Is he playing Khan? And every time he was asked, he was like, no, he's not Khan. He is John Harrison. And then we get into the movie and they say, oh, we have 72 missiles that we're putting on your ship. 72 missiles, you say? Fuck you! I'm sorry. That one really got to me. I was loving that movie up to that point, and then after that, I was like, nope, stupid. I do like the idea of having such a famous, high-class actor like Ben Kingsley playing such a drunk-ass character in this movie. It's pretty hilarious. I actually like it. And all this was cleared up in that Marvel one-shot short film called All Hail the King. In there it was revealed that there is actually a Mandarin in the world, and he is pretty pissed off at what Ben Kingsley did. Again, this twist didn't bother me, but it was just one of so many twists in this movie that, again, causes the script and the movie to just not make sense.
Hey, it's complicated.
The plot of this movie only moves along out of convenience. You know what? I'm going to read off here every twist and every convenience that happened in the plot and in the script, and I'll let you make your own decision as to how you feel about this movie. Okay, here we go. So Tony Stark announces his home address to the Mandarin. Why doesn't Stark have all of his Iron Man suits surrounding his home in preparation for this fight? If Rebecca Hall is working for Aldrich Killian, wouldn't she know that Aldrich Killian is planning on firing missiles at Tony's house? And for that matter, why did she go to Killian for financial help for making her formula? You would think that after Tony Stark's change of heart towards weapons manufacturing, that he would gladly help her create a formula that would heal people. Let's just forget her character. One of the most pointless characters in this movie. I don't even know why she's here. Actually, I have a hard time with Rebecca Hall. I have not liked a single thing that she's done. Really? No one saw the suit fly into the sky after the house crashed into the water? Oh, so the reason that Stark is now in Tennessee is because Jarvis had established a flight plan for Tennessee? How dumb is Jarvis in this movie? Why not just fly Tony back to the ground, meet up with Pepper, and then, if Tony wants to, fly to Tennessee? And how does the suit lose power? I thought they were powered by the arc reactor in Stark's chest, and those could go on for several lifetimes. Hey, little scarred-up saloon lady, you know your enemy is Tony Stark, right? Why play coy with him outside the saloon and enter 10 minutes later, posing as Homeland Security to arrest him? And also in that scene, hey, drunk lady at the bar, you're handing over the file of your son to Tony when clearly the voice that you spoke to over the phone was a woman's. Dumbass. So how does the extremis thing work? And by that I mean, how do you actually kill an extremis person? Extremis can heal from exploding buildings, slicing off of the limbs, but apparently if you just blast a hole through their stomach, that kills them? What? Would you please define the rules of this extremis thing? Oh, so his Iron Man suit's flight mode is not operating yet. Okay. Jarvis, why not send Tony a suit that works? You know, it's really cool that Stark has developed, like, remote tech for his suits, but him not actually being in the suit while he's saving the Air Force One crew really lowers the stakes for me. Yes, I guess all these people would die, but our main character would just be fine on a boat about 100 yards away. Oh yes, the Vice President is behind the whole Killian extremis thing. How convenient for the plot. Oh my god, Potts dies, only to come back just minutes later to kill Killian. So Stark blows up his suits for Pepper. Aw, how sweet. Unfortunately, all of this is going to be undercut when Age of Ultron comes out in a couple of years. So basically Tony is saying, screw you, Pepper, I want to be Iron Man. Which I would say, you know, good for him. He is Iron Man, and if she wants to be with him, I think that's something that she has to accept. It's not something that Tony has to change for her. You know, the more I read off that list, the more I realize that this script is purposefully going out and looking for these twists. And in order to find these twists in the script and in the plot, we have to dumb down our characters tremendously. Rebecca Hall's character is completely pointless. Tony makes some dumb decisions in this movie. And Jarvis, he's supposed to be a really, really smart, intelligent computer program. And out of convenience, because Shane Black wants to put the plot in Tennessee for some reason, flight plan to Tennessee! It makes no sense. The good news is, though, after this movie, MCU has really only gotten better. It's never gotten down this low. So guys, in the end, Iron Man 3 is a nice progression of the Tony Stark character, but the movie as a whole is just one combobulated mess that just does not fit into the MCU at all. I'm gonna give Iron Man 3 1.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
I'm really hard on this movie, but this movie did just fine in the box office. It did over $1 billion. All of that, of course, is the aftermath of the Avengers movie the previous year. Does this movie deserve that over $1 billion? Oh no.
It's complicated.
Right, everyone, now comes my favorite part in my videos where I randomly select which movie I'm going to be watching next. Let's take a look. Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars, Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Oh, Return of the Jedi. This, I will say up front, this is my favorite Star Wars movie. And you know what? There's only one reason why this is my favorite Star Wars movie. Boom. Right there. Luke Skywalker in a black suit, green lightsaber. Doesn't get any better. Oh. Nope. Take that back. Every nerd's fantasy. Gosh. Miss her so much. So everyone, have you seen Iron Man 3? What did you think about it? Or if you watched it because of this amazing review on it, please comment below, let me know what you thought about it. Or even better yet, you know, what's your most disappointing comic book movie out there? And if any of you say Batman v Superman, I will fight you. That's no lie. And of course, after you're done commenting, please like and subscribe to my channel so you know the next time I'm posting my next movie review. So everyone, I will see you next time with my review of Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, go watch a movie. Take care, guys.